Greetings again, Acolytes, and welcome back to the Archives. The ancient Sith are usually noted for their immense power in the Force, as they seem to have a certain raw understanding of the dark side that many in the modern times shirk. The secrets they uncover bring them to a place where they are able to wield powers that we still do not fully comprehend, and as such, many of these famous Sith Lords are often referenced as the Greats in history. However, after our researchers have taken a closer look at the documentation of their lives, we have reached a different conclusion about one prominent ancient Dark Lord. Perhaps a Sith Lord shouldn't be measured so much by their innate power, but by the accomplishments they achieve with that power, since this is the very reason for power in the first place. Such large names in galactic history such as Exar Kun and Darth Nihilus come to mind, not just for their feats in the Force, but also the things that they did in their day that brought the galaxy to its very knees. There is one Sith Lord though that hides amongst these greats and pretends to be one of them, but today that ends now, as we shine the light on this Sith Lord and expose them for what they truly were. The man we speak of is none other than Naga Sadow. That name is usually referenced when speaking of great Sith sorcerers of the ancient era. However, we are here today to put him on trial and prove that while his power may have been great on the surface, Naga Sadow is unequivocally one of the most embarrassing Sith Lords to have ever lived. A bold claim, but hopefully we can convince you. So, come with us today and let us open up his holocron and scrutinize what history he has told to us and learn from his very fatal mistake. As a brief recap, Naga Sadow was the Dark Lord of the Sith that became the leader of the Sith Empire, succeeding Marka Ragnos during the Golden Age of the Sith. It would be Naga Sadow that not only ended the Golden Age of the Sith, but managed to actually destroy it during its heyday. Now, in the very beginning, Naga Sadow actually did have everything just about figured out, and he was on the right trail. He took advantage of a pair of young Republic explorers that had stumbled onto the Sith world of Korriban by sheer accident, not to mention arriving during a horrible time with the funeral of Marka Ragnos. Their names were Jory and Gav Dagragon, two siblings that were Hyperlane charters. The Sith Empire took them into custody and feared that they were scouts for an incoming Republic attack. The Sith Council was split on the matter because another prominent Sith, Ludo Kresh, and his forces desired to play it safe and be more conservative with the Sith Empire. After all, they were all rich, the Empire was bountiful, and they had lived in relative ignorant peace from the Republic at large for several thousand years. They didn't want to risk launching a preeminent campaign on the Republic if they weren't ready for it, especially since they had no real evaluation of the Republic's true strength. On the other hand, you had Naga Sadow, who insisted that they needed to continue to expand lest the Sith Empire grow fat and stagnant. He knew very well that these young explorers were here by pure accident, but instead, he manipulated the Sith Council into believing that this was a preeminent attack by the Republic. In a genius stroke of misdirection and guile, Sadow took the Republic blaster weapons from Daragon's ship and staged a prison break with his own men, using their weapons to burst out Jory and Gav, being sure to leave evidence behind to frame it as a Republic assault. This launched the Sith Council into a frenzy, where Sadow's message was now being taken very seriously, and he was made Dark Lord and Emperor immediately, and given full control over the Sith Empire, which was of course his plan. Meanwhile, he stashed Gav somewhere and trained him in the ways of Sith sorcery after learning of his Force sensitivity, and let Jory just leave the planet. Reason being, he had put a tracker on her ship that would serve as a beacon for his forces to rally when the attack was to happen. All of this in his holocron is actually painting Sadow as a brilliant strategist. Sadow then had an immense force rallied to his side, and Sadow was now seemingly unstoppable. He remained in his meditation sphere and decided to aid his forces by using Sith magic to create illusions so that it would appear that their forces was much larger than it really was. Naga Sadow was primed to be one of the most fearsome Sith emperors in all of the lore, and all of this may sound like he had everything perfectly planned out, but here's where everything goes wrong, and Sadow begins making ludicrous mistakes. Mistakes that the Sith will suffer from for their entirety. First, he makes the mistake of putting Gav Daragon in charge of the fleet at his flagship, despite Gav having literally zero military combat experience whatsoever, and only a rudimentary understanding of the Force. Second, Naga Sadow decides to send this invasion force directly into the heart of the Republic, by outright attacking none other than Coruscant first. Third, and most egregiously, Sadow throws the entire Sith fleet into this single invasion, leaving the Sith homeworlds completely exposed and without any protection. The first stages of this invasion were in fact successful. The Sith fleet exited hyperspace and invaded Coruscant, catching the Republic completely off guard. However, Sadow didn't account for the fact that Gav's sister Jory was there on Coruscant and managed to talk Gav into renouncing the Sith and turning back to the way of the Republic. Mistake number 4 is here. Sadow took on a Sith apprentice that still had emotional attachments that he let live, and put this rookie in charge of an entire Sith fleet. Gav and Jory then flew back to Naga Sadow's meditation sphere on Primus Guled and fiercely attacked it, blowing right into it, causing him to lose focus, which revealed that the fleet wasn't as large as the Republic believed it was. On Coruscant, an outnumbered legion of Jedi and Republic soldiers had been backed up to the steps of the Galactic Senate. However, once the illusion disappeared and they saw the truth of the Sith, it led to a Republic counterstrike that ultimately defeated the Sith fleet. The Republic followed the hyperspace trail of Gav Daragon back to Primus Guled, and Sadow tried to hold out in battle when the Republic forces inevitably arrived. However, he was completely outgunned and was sent limping back to Sith space, where he was met with yet another surprise. His old rival Ludo Kresh had established himself as a Dark Lord of the Sith in Sadow's absence. With little time to recover after Primus Guled, Sadow found himself engaged in another battle, this time against his oldest rival in the skies above Korriban, Ludo Kresh. Kresh nearly overwhelmed Sadow's battered ships, but one of Sadow's doomed pilots made a suicide run on Kresh's flagship, killing Ludo Kresh instantly and scattering his remaining forces, as well as destroying their will to fight. Unfortunately, things got even worse for Sadow. Immediately after this victory, the Republic fleet showed up to finish Naga. The Dark Lord of the Sith by now didn't even have a single leg to stand on, and by using the power of Sith magic, he caused a solar flare to cover his escape, as he literally just abandoned his troops and left for Yavin 4. The Republic had mistakenly assumed that Sadow had died in the solar flare, as the rest of the Sith fleet had been destroyed during the event. And with that, the Sith Empire in its golden age was no more, and Sadow lived out the remainder of his disgrace on Yavin 4, where he built a temple to himself and manipulated the wildlife there with Sith sorcery. And that's it. The Great Hyperspace War we hear all of these stories of only lasted a single day, and Naga Sadow's conquest, an attempt to destroy the Republic, ruined the golden age of the Sith. My friends, Naga Sadow had a great start, but with sheer ineptitude and mind-numbingly stupid decisions, he let the entire Sith Empire crumble to dust in his hands in a matter of hours. Sadow might have been a skilled sorcerer and extremely powerful, but that's about all he has going for him when we take a critical look at his single worst day campaign against the Republic. But my friends and acolytes, we want to know what you think of this man and these events. Did you know much about the life of Naga Sadow before this video, or the Great Hyperspace War in general? And would you agree with us in saying that this is one of the most detrimental Sith to the Empire that has ever lived? And if not, be sure to tell us down below who you think did a worse job governing the Sith Empire. And if you enjoyed this type of breakdowns, please be sure to subscribe and hit that like button, as it helps the channel out immensely. Until next time, fellow Force sensitives and spacefarers, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.